Bismillah, alhamdulillah, salatu salam, rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My name is Tariq Khalid. I'd like to welcome to our program here at Sharjah Media Corporation, getting closer to Allah, getting to know your Lord, understanding Him. And we always attempt to start in addressing those people out there who don't have a relationship with Allah, who don't know Allah, or the people who are even in conflict with this. People say, well, I don't believe in a creator, a sustainer. I believe in myself, and the world is what it is, and there's no hereafter, and you're just going to be bones, deteriorate into bones, and that's it. Everything is over. So whatever you do now, this is it. It's a here and now, nothing else happening. So in our attempt to talk about the greatness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is, of course, to deal with all of those people, and Allah knows best. We can't guide the people, but Allah is a guide. And we never know what small inclination towards the truth will affect the heart of people. So our intention is to reach as many people as possible. And if you're a person out there who has someone who is in conflict, who doesn't believe, or has some belief system of his own, then we encourage you to encourage him, invite him to the oneness of Allah, to understand this relationship, how important it is and significant it is, and that he will be the loser. He will be the loser for not paying attention and striving to get more understanding and implementation of this. And today we have many people who are non-Muslims who read the Quran and take the wisdom from the Quran, and many of them also among the clergy, Christian clergy, who we've heard from more recently, who says, you know what, I look at the Quran from time to time. I like what it says, and I make comparative analysis with what I believe in, and so forth and so on. And we say to those people, fine, this is a good thing. Make a comparative analysis, and may Allah open your heart to the truth and guide you to what is true guidance. So let's read what the Prophet ﷺ said. And this is recorded by Madan bin Abu Talha. Said, I met Thoban, the servant of the Prophet ﷺ. So I asked him, inform me of an action that I can perform that would cause Allah to enter me into paradise. Inform me of an action that will cause Allah to enter me into paradise. I asked the most beloved action to the Prophet ﷺ. He remained silent, so I asked him again, but he remained silent. Then I asked him a third time, and he replied, I put the same question to the Prophet ﷺ, and he replied, upon you is to perform many and frequent prostrations to Allah, the Exalted. For indeed you do not perform a single prostration to Allah, the Mighty and Magnificent, except that Allah, the Mighty and Magnificent, raises you by a level and blots out a sin of yours by virtue of it. So let's go back to this. This is important. This is a simple action. But let's look at where many people are in relationship to this. Many people, when you say prostrate, you mean put my head on the ground? I don't put my head on the ground for anybody. You want me to act like a slave or servant? I'm not willing to do that. To me, that's stooping low. So in this, we see, what is this? For a man, this is the highest level of respect or submission, isn't it? We see in certain societies present today, not even talking about historically, where people prostrate in front of their rulers, whoever the title of that ruler might be in that society, out of respect and giving homage to that individual. For those of us from the Western world, we may think that that is strange, but we are again thinking about modern time, and even presently, people bow to monarchs in the Western world or kiss their hands, as an example, if allowable. So these things, even in Western civilization, which people feel that are strange, are still going on in Western civilization. And they attribute it mostly to Eastern civilization, where we have people actually kissing people's feet. And I've seen this in certain societies or certain sects in a particular society. So when we see that a human being has this level of respect or giving homage to another person, whether he respects him or not, because of his status in the society, or out of fear that he could be punished for not performing in this designated manner when he is presented to this particular individual, then how should we be to the creator and sustainer of all things? How can we possibly be so arrogant that we say, well, I don't do that, man? An example. And you may very well be an individual that doesn't do that. But when we're talking about the one who created you, who is watching you, who knows everything that you do, who is testing you, who by his permission only can you be guided to the right path, would you deny yourself this guidance just because of your arrogance and your lack of will to submit yourself to your Lord? Think about it. And let's continue. Madan went on to say, then I met Abu Darda, and I asked him the same question. He gave me the same reply as Thoban. And this is collected and reported by Muslim. So, Sheikh al-Nawawi, Imam al-Nawawi says more or less, this particular hadith encourages towards performing more prostrations and inciting one to, meaning by this, the prostrations in prayer. The reason for this encouragement is to be found in the hadith. The closest the servant is to his Lord is in the state of prostration. And this complete conformity is saying prostrate and draw close. And this comes from Surah Al-Alaq, Surah number 19. I'm sorry, Surah number 96, verse number 19, where Allah says prostrate and draw close. And so in this is, we can say, a technique of humility, but it's a test of our humility. Let's put it like that. Are we humble enough to submit ourselves in this way? Or is there some arrogance in us still where we don't feel comfortable in this particular position? So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has associated a huge reward with this simple action for the person who wants to do this. And this is one of the ways for prayers to be accepted in this particular position. Sujood, we call it. So personally, what I do, many non-Muslims, I meet them all the time, and people who are atheists and whatever, it is that they call themselves and what they call themselves believing. So I said, well, let's test your belief. Are you ready to test it? And in many instances, people said yes. I said, okay. It's not going to, can't be any harm to you. If you're a person who doesn't believe, it can't harm you, right? And if you're a person who's confused, then I'm showing you a path to correcting yourself and developing a personal relationship with your Lord. So I'm going to suggest the same thing to anybody who's out there. And any of the Muslims who are out there, if you have some friends or family members, I suggest that you try it with them, especially if they're Christians or Jews, because the Christians and Jews, this is in their books. It's clear. And they know that Jesus ﷺ prostrated. They know that Moses prostrated. They know this. Okay? The question they have to ask themselves is, am I going to prostrate? Or is this something that I need to be doing? and that could be challenging for them for whatever the reason may be. So I'm just going to give you a simple methodology. Number one, for us, purity is an essential part of Islam. So after you take a shower, we'll say after you take a shower, find a place in your house, wherever you like, and use that place. And for the people who are willing, you want to take it to the next level, find the direction of Mecca, from where it is that you live in the world. Now, just say, well, I don't want to pray to Mecca, brother. I said, well, fine. If you don't want to do this, okay. For the people who want the highest level, I said, find the direction, take your shower, find the direction of Mecca, and prostrate yourself and pray only to the one and only God. Only. Don't pray to Jesus. Don't pray through Jesus or any deity or the mother of Jesus or any other form, but directly to Allah, to your Creator. And say anything you want. Anything. Feel that you have an audience with your Lord who you cannot see. And say to him what is in your heart. If you're a disbeliever, say, I don't believe in you. I believe in myself. If you are who you say you are, show me. Give me proof of who you are, as an example. If you're a person who's confused about which direction or what path to take in your life, ask him, says, look, I'm confused. I am confused. I heard the Muslims are saying this, but I'm this particular type of Christian, or I'm a Jew, or I'm a Hindu, I'm a Buddhist, or some mixture there, I'm a Sikh, or I'm some mixture of these things, and I'm confused about which path is the correct path. Please guide me to the right path and make it clear and evident for me that I'm aware and conscious exactly that this is the correct path, without any doubt. So just ask and be patient and do this regularly, at least once a day. It is better if you're doing it in the morning, early, and at night before you go to bed, but minimally, once a day, do it and wait and see. I've never seen a person that didn't have a result. Many people were not ready for the result because some people, as soon as they put their heads on the ground, they would become uncontrollable. They just started weeping. They didn't know why. But the soul knows. The soul, every single person who's out there, your soul knows who is Allah and knows that you need to worship Allah. That the food for your soul is worship. And that worship is only for the creator and sustainer of all things, for nothing or no one else. The soul knows. So what you're doing now is just putting your soul in touch with this reality. So take that step and see what happens. And Abu Hurairah reported that the Prophet ﷺ said, whoever performs his purification in his house, then walks to a house from amongst the houses of Allah, meaning the masjid, in order to fulfill an obligation from among the obligations of Allah, exalted, then for each step he takes, a sin will be removed. With one step and one step of his ranking in paradise will be increased by a level with the next step. So if we look at this, this is just going towards the masjid, the intention to pray, that one step, sin is forgiven, one step, you've been elevated. Allah's elevating you in your degrees in the paradise. I mean, this is serious here. We're talking about this. And the Prophet ﷺ said, in paradise is from the lofty levels of which there is no hope of attaining except by drawing close to Allah. In this world through many prostrations. Consider this and you will come to understand a fine point. This is that the company of the Prophet ﷺ can only be attained through coming close to Allah. Whoever ardently desires to come closer to Allah can only do so by coming close to his beloved, coming to the Prophet ﷺ. So Allah says more or less, Surah Al-Imran, Surah number 3, verse number 31. Say, if you do love Allah, follow me and Allah will love you. Following the Messenger ﷺ has been a place in between the two loves. This is between the servant's love and dependent upon following him and Allah. Loving the servant is conditional upon the following of his Messenger ﷺ. So if we look at this, we need to know who is the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, and we need to take it into understanding that the attack on him is not new. This is very old. And for the people of the book, meaning the Christians and Jews, you should know that Jesus ﷺ was attacked, and then people's intention was to kill him. Moses was attacked, and all of the prophets, basically in one way or another, were attacked, minimally, at least verbally, and some actually killed. So if we look at this is not something that is uncommon. What we're seeing today is that, unfortunately, people are ignorant about the past. So they don't look at it from this perspective. So it is not new that people have denied the prophets of old and denounced them and called them magicians and all kinds of things, and what they're presenting as magic and so forth and so on. Why is this? Because the people themselves are slaves of their desires, and they want to follow their desires. They don't want to stop that. They don't want to be disciplined. They don't want to follow a particular methodology which is in conflict with their desires. Simply. So as a result of that, defensively, they assault, they belittle, they undermine, they spread false information. All of these kinds of things. Why? To keep other people away from the correct belief and to keep people with them. And ultimately, what is this? This is from Satan. Satan knows he's going to hellfire. So he's firing on all cylinders, trying to get people confused, if we understand that. So if you're out there and you're one person that's confused, there's nothing to be confused about. Turn to Allah and His Prophet. Confusion out the window, simply. Read the Quran, establish your prayers. Allah will clear up everything else for you. And that also was whatever the confusion there is among the Muslims. This is what distinguishes Islam. Yes, there's some confusion among the Muslims. There are different things and people saying different things. Yes, there are, even though we should be following the same path. But there is distinction because in the time that we're in, this is a time of confusion, even though we have more education and more facilities for education than there has ever been in history. But we distinctly see that people are confused, and some of them the most or highly educated people. So this in itself tells us something about this time, doesn't it? So it is a time now in this particular age, in this generation, to focus on your relationship with your Lord, establish your prayers, be firm in your belief. The Prophet ﷺ said in conclusion, do not leave Islam if you're threatened to be cut into pieces or to be burned alive. And those of you who are not Muslim, accept Islam before you die. My name is Tariq Khalid. I'd like to thank you for joining us here at Sharjah Media Corporation on getting closer to Allah, getting to know your Lord. Please make the effort to develop this personal relationship for the sake of your own soul. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.